American Ghost Adventures. How can I help you?
Hey, Ting, Rob McConnell. How are you, dear?
Good, and yourself?
Not too bad, thanks. The producer says that we could go a little early tonight, so if you're ready, we can kind of hit the trail a little early.
I am ready.
Okay. All righty. Okay, he said we've got the green light, so stand by 15 seconds.
Okay.
5 seconds.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell, coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, on the TalkStar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, and of course on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ AM, right here in St. Catharines. And they stream us around the world on classic1220.ca. X Zone Nation, we're heading deep into the haunted heart of Florida this hour, with a guest who knows every dark alley, restless spirit, and unexplained bump of the night. Ting RAPPA, founder of AmericanGhostAdventure.com, is our guest, and she's been leading ghost tours and paranormal investigations for over a decade. Her team blends history, mystery, and first-hand ghost encounters into unforgettable experiences. Now, whether it's shadow figures in historic buildings or voices from the beyond the grave, Ting has seen and heard it all. So get ready to explore the eerie side of the Sunshine State and beyond with one of the most respected investigators in the field. Ting RAPPA, welcome to the X Zone.
Hi, thank you for having me on tonight.
Nice having you, Ting. Tell us, how did American Ghost Adventures come to life?
Oh, it actually was an accident. I've always had spirits come to me, and I am totally frightened of ghosts. And so I thought I needed to learn about them a little bit more, and that research turned into a tour.
What inspired you personally to get involved in the paranormal?
Just the fact that it was the unknown, and back then, it was almost taboo.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those things that I kept running into spirits no matter what I was doing, and I was unsure of it. And then it was just an opportunity to research and basically protect myself. And then Orlando being the tourist area it was just a great opportunity. So I kind of fell into a passion, I guess.
So how haunted is Orlando?
Orlando is probably one of the most haunted places. I mean, everybody's going to say that about their city, but almost every place that I get to go to, there's some kind of spirit around. I mean, St. Augustine is the oldest city in the United States, and Orlando by car is only 2 hours away. Mm-hmm. So when people left those areas, Orlando is one of those places they came to. So it's a lot older than people realize.
How did Orlando community react to you launching a ghost tour company?
They were scared about it at first.
Uh-huh.
They did not welcome us at first on that. They were scared that business would be different, and we would scare them into people away from their businesses.
Really? And when I think of Disneyland in Orlando, they've got some pretty creepy things going on there.
Disney is probably one of the most haunted places. If I could investigate any place, it would be Disney. Disney
Right.
is one of those places that they have happy spirits, 99, and room for one more.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot there. A lot there.
So what sets your tours apart from other tours across the country?
We actually bring people inside buildings, and it is a research facility. So when we go through these places, we're actually logging these things in. So we're paranormal investigators and tour guides all at the same time. I guess you could call us like the guardians of ghosts, and we're keeping history, keeping tabs, and getting to see these spirits again nightly so that we can actually document their behaviors, who's coming in. And because these are commercial buildings, there's always a new spirit coming through there. And we'll see some of them for a few weeks, maybe a few months, and then they're gone.
Can you walk us through what a typical investigation with your team looks like?
Well, you would check in with us. We would show you which building we're going in that night. Each tour guide gets their own route, their own location, and they basically create their own tour for the evening. And based on the people that are coming into the tours, some of the people we've learned bring their own ghosts. And so that evening, we don't know if it's going to be an interaction with a building ghost or a personal family member of the guests themselves. So it's kind of neat. So we have the basic equipment on our 2-hour tours where we have the flashlights, the dowsing rods, and the K2 meters. So it's kind of interesting. We never know what we're going to run into that evening.
In your professional opinion, what is a ghost?
A ghost was a person at one point in time, now without their outer body or a shell. But their personality is there. Most of them that I've seen that are haunting places, people, when they hear the word haunting, they think of bad things, but it's just a ghost being where they want to be. They're not trapped there. So that saying of heaven being on earth, that truly is a thing. So everybody has a different perspective of heaven, and some of these are just where they want to be because that is their heaven. That's where they're the happiest. That's where they want to be. That's where they're most comfortable at.
There are many in the paranormal field who believe that ghosts have decided to stay on this side of the light. That kind of contradicts what you just said.
Yeah. It's a working research, to be honest with you. When people ask me, do I believe in ghosts? And I'm going to go, yes, I do. And they go, why do you do the tours like you asked me kind of thing? And I go, well, basically, just to do a little bit more research. We've gone beyond the point of going, are there ghosts? Now it's like, who gets to become a ghost? Why are they here for the most part? What makes them stay here? Is it an object, a person, unfinished business, or is this their heaven that they just want to be here? And who gets to be a ghost? So, there's different research and there's different beliefs, and no matter what you do, there's always going to be a skeptic out there that says there's no such thing as ghosts. Even if one walks up and slaps them in the face, they're going to, oh, that was the wind. No, I can explain that. That was my nerves in my face or something. There's people that are just never going to believe, no matter what you do. And I tell those people, you can't prove that there's not a ghost. There's too many people with so many stories in different places, different time periods that tell the same story.
But once again, it's with the individual's power of belief, whether or not they believe in ghosts or not, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. And there's just some people that can see them better than others. It's like some people can play sports better than others, right? So it's kind of like if you want to see it and you want to believe it, it might come true. And there's just, I think there is, I don't know how to put it, to be honest with you, where just some people are meant to see spirits and others are not. Those are the protectors of people that can see spirits, if that makes any sense. My business partner back in the day really scared off ghosts, let's put it that way. It's the only way I can basically put it, and that was the person I always brought with me to investigation in case I got into trouble, so that he could ward it off or be able to pull me out of my element.
So how do you protect yourself against negative entities?
By prayer, if you believe in a greater power. There's the salt rings that we do. After so many investigations, I tell my tour guides and myself, we'll take a salt bath and basically do a prayer that basically says any negative energy that has attached itself may be washed away. Of course, we live in Florida, so our biggest salt bath is going to be the beach. And then, mostly just prayer and a white light, and you project yourself out. And that has worked. And salt.
So what is the difference between a evil spirit and a ghost? Why does one have a negative connotation while the other decides to be nice and benevolent?
So I think it's going to be religion and your beliefs. So if I tell people, hey, would you like to see a ghost? Some people are deathly afraid. They'll go, no, I don't want to see a ghost. But if I look at that same person and go, can I show you your guardian angel? They're like, yeah, I would love to meet my guardian angel. It's pretty much the same thing, right? Intent, wording. And it's just like you said, stories that people have been told that, haunting, ghosts are bad, spirits and everything else is enlightenment, angels are wonderful. So it just depends on what area you're grown in or what culture you're coming from and what religion you believe in as the meaning of each of these words. To me, it's all interchangeable to me.
Tell me, have you ever experienced something on a tour or during an investigation that has truly frightened you?
Yes. So for most part, most spirits scare me until I get to know them. And I always tell people, whether you're alive or dead, if I don't expect you to be there, you're going to frighten me right off the bat. Probably the most scariest experience I've ever had was actually in Gettysburg. When we do an investigation, we call it highway haunts, where we go to different cities and we create the itinerary, and then our guests can just show up with us. And we ended up at this orphanage, a little children's orphanage, and everybody around us was oohing and ahhing. They're like, oh, I can feel the kids' spirits. They're happy and everything. I literally watched a girl walk in through the wall, hide in a shelf, and I asked them about it, and they said, yeah, it's just an empty shelf there. And I'm like, what's underneath, though? But later on, while everybody was eyeing the children, I actually saw a man in a white coat, which was a doctor. And the lady looked at me. She goes, you see that person right now? And I said, yeah, he's right there. He's actually looking at me and glaring at me right now. And she goes, there's supposedly an evil doctor here that used to torture the kids. And I said, yeah, he's right there. And the room, the energy just got darker, and I felt heavier. And I said, you know what, I don't think I'm very welcome here. I'm going to go back upstairs, because we were in the basement at that point in time. Got upstairs, and I still didn't feel right. I walked outside to break the barrier, went into another museum area where we were investigating. To make a long story short, we were split up where I was at the top of the building on the second floor, and the other people were on the first floor investigating. And one of my investigators, who is a homicide detective, walked up to me and said, hey, Ting, you need to come downstairs. Just his tone of voice, the way he said it, I knew there was some kind of urgency. And I go, is everybody okay? And he goes, yeah, but we want you to come down here. We got something to show you. And they had an obelisk and a speaker box running at the same time. And everybody's staring at me as I walked into the room. I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, they're calling for you.
All right, Ting, we're going to have a bit of a cliffhanger here, because I have to take a break here. Exonation, our guest this hour is Ting RAPPA, and her website is AmericanGhostAdventure.com. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. We'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
Stars tell stories as the eagles fly. There walks a woman strong and wise, with ancient echoes in her eyes. A healer's voice, a sacred flame, calling all seekers by name. Oh, Gilda, child of the dawn, keeper of truths that were never gone. You walk the path where few...
All right, segment 2 is coming up, and it's 15 seconds from now. 10 seconds.
In the heart of the night, where the shadows play, on the X Zone we gather, come what may, with Rob McConnell guiding us through the dark, searching for truth hidden, igniting the spark. Whispers of spirits, both gentle and bold, tales of the ancients in the stories retold. From haunted old houses to the echoing halls, we seek the unknown where mystery calls. On the X-Zone Radio, where the truth finds a way through the stories of ghosts that wander and sway, inviting the seekers, the wise and the brave. Join us each episode, let the curious say.
And welcome back, everyone. We're talking about Orlando, Florida. Great place to visit, but it's haunted. Ting is with us, and she is with American Ghost Adventures, and their website is americanghostadventures.com. Before we took the break, you were telling us about this investigation that you were on, and a homicide detective that is part of your team came to get you in another location and take it from there.
So we were in the investigation, and they had called me downstairs, and they had the spirit box running and a novelist running at that time, and they were all looking at me, and they said, "Dang it, they're calling your name." I looked at them and I said, "Calling my name? I have a very unique name. I don't think they're calling my name." And everybody in that room started shaking their head like, yes, they were calling your name. As I'm saying this, the spirit box says "Ting." It's clear as day, and it's a male voice. And I said, "I don't want to speak with you." Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the doctor from across the street from earlier in the basement when I said I felt uncomfortable and I'm leaving. He said my name, and I said, "I'm not talking to you. I'm not communicating with an evil spirit right now." The next thing I know, I'm wearing a very thick leather jacket and a sweater, and I feel a burning sensation. And I looked at my partner, the homicide detective, and said, "Hey, check my back." And I take off my jacket, and I lift up my sweater, and you could see a scratch mark on my back. Just didn't feel right, felt unsettling. We finished up the investigation. Afterwards, we went to an English pub in town, and, we had some drinks, and I said, I just still don't feel right, guys. I said, I wish I had some sage. We were leaving the bar, and I go, "I wish I had some sage or some kind of protection stuff right now with me." And one of our guests says, "I have sage." And I kind of laugh, and I go, "You carry sage with you everywhere you go?" And she goes, "Yeah, I actually have it in my purse." I go, "I guess my next thing is I just need a lighter or a match." And somebody else goes, "I have one." And so we did a little ceremony right there, and we did a cleansing on me. And I said, it might be just psychological, but I feel a lot better. And it might just, like I said, just be my thought. But across the street was a Zotar machine, and it's motion activated. There's nobody around us. It's after midnight in this small little town. The Zotar machine, after I said that, went, "Ha, ha, 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 ha. Let me tell you your fortune."
Oh.
Out of the blue.
Now, this mark that was on your back, was it also on your leather coat? Or?
Nope.
Wow.
Just on the inside. It was the weirdest thing. And that was the first time I've ever actually physically been touched by a spirit. So it was really, really interesting. I did not like that feeling. I did not like the oppression on myself at that point in time. The only way I can really describe it, if you feel like you're just ill. You're just ill. You just don't feel right. Something is not right about it, if that makes any sense. I know it's really vague and it's really But that's the only way I can really describe it. It just felt very heavy, and I just felt like I wasn't myself.
I've had people tell
And
me it's like they feel as if the life is being sucked right out of them.
it feels dark. Let's put it that way. You
Yeah.
feel weak, and you know you're fine just a minute ago, but it's almost like catching a cold, but a worse kind of cold. But you're just draining. You're starting to get your energy drained out of you. But yeah, it was one of the weirdest feelings ever. But as soon as we did that whole sage ceremony, which doesn't take care of every evil thing, but like I said, it was just a light attachment to me at that point in time, and this ghost was following me and stalking me, and we were able to detach it at that moment. And I just felt a little lighter. I just felt like, a breath of fresh air, nobody strangling me or hugging me so tight anymore.
Why do you think this ghost was after you?
I think he did not like that I said he was evil, that I could actually see him. He was wandering among the good spirits, I guess you could say, because everybody was feeling happy with the little kids around. But for me to see who he was and what he was for, I think he was really upset with that.
Speaking
And I
about
painted him into a dark light.
Speaking about little kids, once again, everyone here at the X Zone and Relmar McConnell Media and all our affiliates and all our networks, we send our thoughts and our prayers and love down to the people in Texas who lost so much, and there's so much pain, so much sorrow because of the tragic flood of the Guadalupe River, and the number of people that have lost so much, and so much pain and so much sorrow. So to everyone down there, we love you. We're sending you love. We're sending you light. We're sending you our prayers. And I don't know what else we can do. And speaking about that, you were talking about the children. What will happen in the case of what happened in Kilo County with the Mystic Camp? You've got all these children who passed. What happens to their little souls?
That's just it. Like I said, that's the one question I don't know the answer to. Who gets to come back to be a ghost? I have my theories.
Yeah.
Where people that have almost like AFib or energy that wear watches and electronics and they surge those, I'm almost going to say those people can come back. If that makes any sense. So who gets to and who gets, that's our biggest question nowadays is who gets to come back as a ghost.
Are there any locations you refuse to revisit because of how intense the energy was?
Waverly Hills is one of them. I was there. I was one of the first people to step foot at Waverly Hills in Kentucky before they opened officially. And I had got an invitation to go up there, and this is before I actually knew that I could actually communicate with ghosts and see ghosts and all that stuff. We had driven up there with the new owners. Kim had just bought the property, and she was looking for ways to advertise and promote the place. And they were giving me a tour of the place, and as soon as I stepped on that ground, it felt horrible, absolutely horrible. And I could hear people coughing. They didn't tell me what the location was, if that makes any sense. They just kind of gave me an address to meet them at. I had no idea of the history of the place or anything, but I kept hearing people coughing. And there was one building that I just did not like at all, and I said, there's something bad down there. There's lots of people screaming at me right now. I couldn't even go inside the building. When I touched one of the doorknobs to start going into a building, I said, nope. And they're like, what's wrong? I go, they don't want us here. I go, there's so many of them. They're all coming out. It's almost like a zombie apocalypse kind of thing. And I never could step foot on that property. I mean, they've been in business now for over 20-something years. You know what I mean? And that's probably one of the most haunted places and stuff like that. But it was just overwhelming for me.
Why would that place be so haunted compared to other institutions and hospitals throughout the United States and Canada, or these locations were, I would imagine, have had the same number of atrocities or illness or death, and yet people, paranormal investigators, seem to gravitate to locations like the Waverly?
I think when I went there, it's because nobody had really gone there yet.
Okay.
Does that make sense? It had been shut down for a while. They bought the property, and nobody had gone visiting at that point. This is, like I said, early 2000s when ghost hunting was just starting. I mean, it was so much easier back then. But a lot of people had the stigma that, ghost hunters are crazy and ghosts don't exist and that you're Satanist worshippers and all this kind of stuff. And so this property, when they're starting to open it up, had no visitors just yet. It had been shut down for quite a while. So these ghosts that were there were almost attention seeking at that point. They're like, oh, it's somebody that can see us, somebody that can communicate with us. Hey, I'm right here. I think that's why it overwhelmed me, because I did not know the history of the place. I did not know that I had the ability. I was just getting into the field at that point in time. So I think it was just overwhelming for me. And it was, at that point, because I had no idea what to compare it to at that time.
Can ghosts communicate with each other?
Certain ones can. We've done so much field study in the 21 years, I can tell you that some spirits don't see each other. It's fascinating. We've done different experiments and everything else where I now know that certain spirits can see color. And they, of course, they can speak English and they speak different languages. When I go up to the fort in St. Augustine, if I switch over and have an interpreter speak in Spanish, I get much more activity than I do when I speak English. But I'm sure they can adapt also because they've been there for hundreds of years. You see what I'm saying? They've learned the language, but their preferred language is going to be Spanish. We just get better activity when we do that. So, yeah, I mean, there's so many variables. We've asked in a room, can you see each other? How many spirits are in the room? And we'll get multiple answers, multiple devices going off, multiple stories, and we know there's multiple spirits in there, but sometimes they can't see each other.
Just for our listeners who may not be tuned into the history of the Waverly, can you explain to them what the Waverly was?
It was a tuberculosis hospital and an insane asylum, from what I was told. So back then, if you had any kind of quirkiness, any kind of illness that they couldn't diagnose or want to deal with, they kind of threw you in there. And they did all these horrible experiments, and people were dying. And the one building that I told you that I said there's lots of spirits there, there's something wrong, it was the body chute that I was walking by.
Ooh.
Later on, as they told me when I couldn't go into the building, they were like, would you like to know why you don't like that building? And I'm like, yeah, I would. They were like, that's where the bodies, once the deceased ones, there were so many people dying so fast that they just threw them down this body chute to hold down there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ting, stand by. You and I have to take our break at the bottom of the hour. Next on Nation, our guest this hour is Ting RAPPA. And it's just amazing. Next time you go down to Florida, Orlando, look Ting up. Her website is AmericanGhostAdventures.com. This is the X Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. Ting and I will be back on the other side of the short break, so whatever you do, don't go away. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and on all social media sites, Xzone Radio TV. And we're here with you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight on the Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, Xzone Broadcast Network, and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ AM in Ontario. And they stream us around the world on classic1220.ca.
Igniting the spark, whispers of spirits, both gentle and bold. Tales of the ancients in the stories retold. From haunted old houses to the echoing halls, we seek the unknown where the mystery calls. On the X-Zone Radio, where the truth finds a way through the stories of ghosts that wander and sway, inviting the seekers, the wise and the brave. Join us each episode, let the curious say.
All right, just give us a sec here.
I'm hoping I'm doing okay for you.
You're doing fantastic. All righty, 15 seconds and away we go. By the way, Larry Lawson said to say hi.
Who said hi to?
In a world where shadows whisper truth, Larry Lawson's on the quest, searching for proof. From the badge to the beyond, he made his stand. With a heart full of courage and a flashlight in hand. With every step he takes through the haunted night, unlocking unseen doors, shining a light. Former detective in search of the real, bringing stories to life that we all can feel. Oh, Larry Lawson, you're our guide through the mysteries where the spirits reside. With paranormal stakeout shining bright, you're the voice of the lost in the still of the night. Indian River secrets, they call out his name. With passion and purpose, he plays his game. Haunted locations, he walks through the fear. Every echo a story, every whisper we hear. He's got that determination, a fire.
And welcome back, everyone. Ting RAPPA is our special guest, AmericanGhostAdventures.com. And Ting, in what location on your tour has the highest volume of consistent paranormal activity?
It's probably where our office is located, and we call it the AGA building. It's an old hotel / general store at one point in time, and that one is pretty fascinating. It's I call it the test area for our tour guides. If they can make it through that building by themselves at nighttime, they're good to go. So it's kind of interesting there.
Why would these hauntings only occur at night?
Oh, they don't. We're just there at nighttime for the ambiance. So most people do ghost tours at nighttime because it's quieter, it's darker, it's eerier. But ghosts are, dead people. They don't tell time anymore, so they don't care. So we have cameras that are up there sometimes at, 5 o'clock in the morning. They're triggering my cameras to go off. I can see them at noon. And every once in a while we'll do daytime tours by request because we do custom tours. And sometimes my daytime tours are more active than my nighttime tours. It's just that, again, people choose nighttime for the ambiance and just for the quietness of it. I mean, there's not the hustle and bustle of downtown at nighttime, if that makes any sense.
It does. So I guess what I'm thinking of is that by doing it at night, number one, not many new people work at night, and number two, it adds to the flair of the tour itself.
Correct. And so, because it's quieter, there's less people in the building and stuff like that, you're more apt to see if a door closes. You're not going to think somebody else is doing it, if that makes any sense. There's nobody down that hallway. We're the only people in there. So if something happens, a noise happens in there, we can't go, oh, it must be one of the offices down the hallway or anything like that, or the restaurant downstairs and stuff like that. But, yeah, during the daytime, you can miss things because there's people walking in front of you, around you, opening doors, and, just daily business going on.
Besides people, are there animal ghosts as well?
We have. We've met cats and dogs. I mean, at my house, I have a dog that's passed away, and I can hear the tip-tapping of her walking down the hallway sometimes. And my husband, who is a non-believer, has had the occurrence, and he goes, I hear footsteps. Who is that? Kind of thing. You know what I mean? I mean, 2 years ago, he finally had his first experience with the paranormal, and it was with an animal. It was with our deceased dog. He watched the bed that was perfectly made and watched an indentation of where my dog used to sleep. Form.
Unreal. What has been the oldest ghost you have seen? What era?
Ooh. I would say for me it was the 1930s, 1940s that has physically shown himself to me, if that makes any sense.
Do ghosts have shelf lives?
You know, I want to say no. I think they wander wherever they want to go. Like I said, we have commercial buildings, so we don't deal with the same ghosts over and over. We have what we call resident spirits that are more apt to be seen by several of us, and then they'll cycle through, if that makes any sense. Some of them will be there only for a couple weeks, a month, maybe a year, and then we get a whole different ghost altogether.
Why hasn't anyone ever reported seeing a ghost of a caveman?
That's a good question. It's the same thing. I haven't seen a naked ghost either. So it's almost like, you know, maybe that's the way they project themselves, or that is one of the good questions that I cannot answer. You know, that people have asked me, have I ever seen a naked ghost? I'm like, I have not. You know, so I've seen a 70-year-old lady die, but she came back as a 7-year-old. So I think it might be the image that they project themselves also.
What are some of the strangest things guests have reported on your tours?
That their relatives are with them, that they didn't expect them to be there. You know, I think that's the biggest thing. I don't advertise that we can communicate with your loved ones or anything like that. But over the 21 years, that has been the most fascinating thing. I think most people will go, I did not expect my grandmother to be here, or, you know, my loved one to be here with me and actually talking to me right now.
Has anyone ever fainted, fled, or had an intense emotional reaction to a ghost?
Yes, they've left the buildings, they've left the tours early.
Wow.
I've had that happen several times. I've had crying, you know, like, because it's such an emotional experience for them, they, you know, leave there crying. Yeah, I mean, we've had all the emotions. I've had people get angry sometimes, like, how dare you say that's my grandmother? And we're like, we're not. Your family member is saying that, you know, somebody that's with you is saying that kind of thing. You know what I mean? But with questioning, we don't just say this is so-and-so. We do a series of questions on our investigations where we'll go, hey, who do you think this is? Do you think this is grandmother? Do you know your grandmother's favorite color? Yes. Give me 4 colors. Name 4 random colors and making one of them her favorite color. And we'll ask them through our equipment here to light up a flashlight, cross the dowsing rods, or make the K2 meter go to red when they hear their favorite color. And when they're answering these questions, where I don't know the answer, and it's coming through these equipment, it's pretty fascinating. It's pretty incredible. You know, I've done it where we had one lady, her friend died, and we went through 5 or 6 different questions, and they convinced me that this was the person that was there. You know what I mean? By just answering questions that I would not have known, and the flashlights and the equipment were going off in cue immediately to the right answers each time. So that was pretty incredible.
In your opinion, do children, teenagers, or adults have the ability to see or communicate with ghosts?
Children usually see, that's what most people will tell you. But if they are born with somebody, a parent or a relative that has the ability to see ghosts, I know this for a fact that it is hereditary. So it could be an adult, it could be a teenager, and it could be a child. As long as they have it in their gene, they can all see them. Children are usually more apt to see them because they don't know what's wrong or right yet. They haven't been told what is believable, non-believable yet, if that makes any sense. They're free of mind. They can just say, there's a man standing at the end of the hallway. Teenagers have a little bit of harder time because they don't know how to process it. They don't want to look silly. They don't want to embarrass themselves. And of course, some adults, you know, just, again, don't want to be embarrassed. So they'll hold it in. But nowadays, they're a little bit more open to answering those questions, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Do you think ghost tours can play a role in preserving history?
Absolutely, if it's done correctly. If you do the research, there's companies out there that will lie just to make a profit, but we're considered the guardians of the ghosts, right? And the history keepers. So we make sure that we research everything. We make sure that small mom and pop places that research this stuff to basically protect the history, that make sure that it carries on to the next generation. We're the storytellers. We make history come to life. It makes it more interesting, so that you're not learning it in the classroom, but you're actually seeing it from a local perspective.
How do you balance entertainment with real paranormal investigations on your tours?
Yes, we do real investigations, and basically it follows the history. So certain buildings have a stigma to it. We try to research that and see if that ghost is still there, if that makes any sense.
I don't think you understood my question. It was...
I apologize.
No, please don't apologize. How do you balance entertainment with real paranormal investigations on your tours?
With a little bit of history.
Okay.
With a little bit of history. So we don't call everything paranormal. So if somebody tells me they're cold, I go, are you staying on an air vent? Or are you staying by a window that may have a breeze? Does that make sense? And then at the same time, though, if they're telling me my grandmother's here with me, who am I to tell them that, no, that's not your grandma with you? If they decide to go, this is my grandmother, I'm connecting with her at this moment in time, we're going to go with that flow. We're going to go, okay, that is grandma. That's amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more, what you're feeling, what you're encountering? That's the entertainment part of it, because there's nothing that I can prove that it is not right or wrong. There's no history in that building of their grandmother being there, if that makes any sense.
So does that tend to lead one to believe that this person is personifying the existence of his grandmother being there? That the situation, the ambiance is just right for him or her to have this encounter that they may not have had any other place?
Sometimes, yeah. So in ghost tours, we're going to attract the strange of the strange anyways. And there are some people that are eccentric where they're going to say everything's ghostly. There's no such thing as non-ghost things. And, they can see dead people. There's 75 dead people around me. And they sensationalize it. They use that moment to boost themselves. Does that make sense? And then there's other people that are on the opposite end of the scale, that no matter what happens, they're not going to believe in ghosts. So it really is a perspective. I mean, so yes, sometimes the atmosphere is correct. When somebody comes in and tells me they're psychic, it's kind of like, okay, we'll see, right? We already have 21 years worth of research, information about certain ones of these buildings. And the ones that usually come in and tell me they're psychic, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. They're saying the generic things of, I see a ghost, it's a female, and you're like, okay, a little bit more, and they can't do it. Then you have guests that come in and are terrified of ghosts, and they're like, I'm feeling a woman right now. She feels like she likes to drink. So she walks in that building right down there at the end of the room.
We're going to have to have a bit of
the exact spot.
Ting, we're going to have to take a break here. It's our final break. Index Zone Nation. Ting Rapp is our guest, and the website is AmericanGhostAdventures.com. That's right, isn't it, Ting? AmericanGhostAdventures.com.
It is. It is.
Ting and I will be back as we wrap up this hour and tonight's show after this break.
We all can feel. Oh, Larry Lawson, you're our guide through the mysteries where the spirits reside. With paranormal stakeout shining bright, you're the voice of the lost in the still of the night.
All right, Ting, this is the final segment. First of all, you did great. Thank you so much. I'm going to get into the paratourism business here.
Okay.
Okay?
And I apologize for the interruptions and stuff like that.
Don't worry. Hey, stop it. Okay, here we go. You're doing great. 10 seconds.
In the silence of the night where shadows softly play, a voice emerges gently, guiding minds astray. Rob McConnell calls to us from a realm unseen. The X-Zone beckons softly, where dreams blend with the keen. In the whispers of the cosmos, where the truth collides with lies, he crafts a tapestry of stories beneath an endless sky. In over 35 years of tales that twist and turn, each word a flicker sparking fires, igniting hearts that yearn. Dare to believe he softly pleads in this place divine, where fact is just a mirror and reality unwinds. In the X-Zone, oh, we dare to dream through ethereal echoes, unraveling the scene. Rob McConnell's voice guides us in the night so clear, a voyager to the unknown where every soul can hear.
And welcome back, everyone. First of all, Ting, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. A great pleasure talking to you, and please don't be a stranger. We were talking about, the mom and dad paranormal investigation groups that are out there. How do you feel about the paranormal tourism industry that is popping up? And it seems that there are groups and organizations like yours and the ones that you're associated with who are doing it, in my opinion, for all the right reasons. You're preserving the integrity of history. You're preserving the integrity of spirits. You're doing your very best to conduct paranormal investigations. And yet there are other organizations out there who are just out there to bastardize the business.
Yes, there is. It's changed. We've been in business. I was originally Orlando Ghost Tours, and that was founded in 2001. I joined the team in 2004, and now it's considered American Ghost Adventures. There are so many Halloween events, so many other people that are into the paranormal now that it's oversaturated the business, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. And we have companies that are in here just to commercialize, that are basically trying to put mom and pop places out of business. And make it a corporate these days. It's kind of sad. It really, really is sad. It's kind of a compliment at the same time when people think they can just start up a ghost tour because we make it look so easy, if that makes any sense. But there's a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of heart and soul and time that goes into creating these tours and experiences. But yeah, over the years, it has gotten a lot harder. So if you choose a ghost tour to go on, make sure it's local. Make sure it's not commercialized and advertised over 100 to 150 other cities, because they don't know the history as well as the local tour groups do, if that makes any sense. They use AI now to create scripts. They are going to take advantage of you as a tourist, knowing that you're not going to know the difference between this building and that. When we could stand around and lie and say, this is the devil's chair. This is where the demons come out of. This is, the river of slime over here, just to sensationalize it. We can all come up with fake stories to make it more interesting, but if you're looking for the true history, the true hauntings, go with your local ghost tours.
But if somebody goes to, let's say, Orlando, and they Google, ghost tours, how are they to know from the listings that are on Google who is legitimate and who is not?
Look how long they've been in business and how many cities they're in. If they're in multiple cities and stuff like that, multiple places, they're most likely not going to be local. The other one is if they're sponsored. Most mom and pop places cannot sponsor ads because we just don't have the marketing budget for it. There's a difference between being sponsored and being number one because you're sponsoring paying to be number one, and being number one because the guests voted you to be number one. So that's going to be the biggest difference right there. If you want locals, make sure that they're in that city only or in neighboring areas only. They're not in Arkansas and New York and Maine and then all the way out in California. That's when you know they're not going to be local. You're not going to get a good ghost tour. They're going to be entertaining, they're going to be maybe cheaper than the local ghost tours because that's what they're trying to do, but they're not going to know the history and all the local haunts. It's going to be fabricated. Most ghost tours will tell you a suicide story, a brothel, and a love story somewhere. And that's, if you look at their stories, you can almost sample those same stories in every city. And they have a script that says basically change the name of the local main street, add a local character in there, and there you go. Voila, you got an instant, script for that city. It's not going to be true, and it's not going to be accurate.
How about all these different ghost shows and paranormal investigation shows on television? How are they affecting the tried and true investigators like yourself?
We tell people one of our first housekeeping rules is if you guys watch those ghost shows, please understand that they're here for weeks and months at a time videotaping this, and it is edited. So you don't want to watch them go into the bathroom, watching them get a snack, watching them, do all the research in these places. We only have 2 hours. We're going to take you to the hottest spots. We're going to take you inside the buildings here, and we're going to tell you the story. But if nothing happens tonight, it's because the ghosts don't want to come out tonight. It's just like us. Sometimes we want to work, and sometimes we don't want to work. But those shows, because it's for entertainment purpose only, they have to fake some stuff. So it's all about timing. So sometimes they make the evidence work for them because it is for entertainment. If they show you something that doesn't happen, you're not going to tune in again. I mean, how many times can you go, oh my gosh, when a door opens and slams 500 doors later? You know what I mean? 10 seasons in, and they're still screaming about a door closing. It is for entertainment.
Has working so closely with the paranormal changed your view on life and afterlife?
Absolutely. Being a first responder, owning a ghost tour company, you know what I mean? If you're vertical and not horizontal, I'm already happy. It's a good day. And I tell my guests that, and that's one of our running jokes. Life is short. Life is definitely short. Not all ghosts are around because of unfinished business, but a lot of it, are sad stories sometimes because they didn't get to do something. Or when I run medical calls, people die, and they're like, I was just in an argument with them early this morning. I didn't get to say I love them. So doing the ghost tours, telling the stories of the ghosts, telling the stories of history, and being a first responder does make me look at life a little bit different. I always tell people, be happy, be nice to others, you know what I mean? And do things you want to do. YOLO. You only live once. Do it now. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. Have fun.
What advice do you give people who believe their house is haunted?
You're still living there for the most part. Most hauntings are going to be friendly. So unless they've killed somebody or harmed somebody, you're going to be okay. That's your new unsaid roommate. So when you get scared, tell them, stop it. Don't do that, please. I'm watching that show. Don't turn the television channel. I know that you're here, but this is my space and my time now. Most of the time, they're going to leave you alone at that point. They're like, oh my gosh, they acknowledge me. Okay, we got it. You guys can coexist for the most part. If it's not, you're going to have to do a cleansing of some sort, but that's not what we specialize in, unfortunately.
I'm sure after people listening to tonight, there are people who are saying, geez, I'd like to learn more about how to be a paranormal investigator, how to do a ghost tour. How can I get involved? What information or what advice would you have for them?
Go on a tour. Make sure you can handle some of these buildings. Just know that it is not all investigations. If you're looking to run your own ghost tour and create one, just know there is no days off. I mean, in our area, in the Orlando area, we can't run it full time. Our biggest competitors, of course, are the theme parks and stuff like that. In smaller places, maybe up in the New England area where there is no Disney World, and that's the only thing that happens, if that makes any sense, that you're the only entertainment in the area, you're going to do much better. But just know that the words you say about the spirits and the history that you're relaying to people needs to be accurate, because you are representing those that can no longer speak or can no longer, represent themselves anymore. You are the keeper. You are going to be influencing the next generation of people about the history of the area and creating that reputation for that spirit. And we like to paint our spirits in a very happy light, if that makes any sense. We try not to call them evil. They may have grumpier days. They may be a little bit more aggressive. But for the most part, they're wonderful people. they help us out on our tours. They know to come to work. They come and socialize. And if they do something one night or don't do anything, we just go, they might need a day off, just like anybody else. Just have respect for the living and the dead.
And of course, wherever you go, be respectful. Just don't decide to go into a home that looks decrepit because it might be haunted. Trespassing is still against the law. Plus, if you hurt yourself while you're on one of these investigations and you haven't got the permission from the owner to be there, there are consequences for that as well. Ting, before we go, how long does your ghost tour last?
We have anywhere from a 2-hour to a 4-hour, and sometimes we have overnight. So we do customize tours as the biggest things that we're known for. If there's a tour you're looking for, give me a call, and we can customize it, and we'll make it happen for you. We'd love to have people on our tour and show you our friendly spirit.
And finally, you've got about a minute. What message would you like to leave with our listening audience tonight?
Support local, please. Like I said, make sure you help these small companies continue to exist and keep history alive. Be nice to people. You never know where they're at in life. And like I said, YOLO. You only live once. Go out there and do it. Don't say you're going to do it tomorrow when you can do it today. Have fun and be kind to people.
And if there's anybody listening to us tonight in the Orlando area who'd like to not only connect with you because of their interest in going on a ghost tour, but maybe getting a lesson or two from you or your group, how can they contact you?
You can give us a call at 407-256-6225 or visit us on our website at AmericanGhostAdventures.com. And we're also on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. So we're on all those. And I think Twitter is now called X. So I apologize for getting that name wrong. But we're all on the social media. Just look up American Ghost Adventures under Google, and you'll find us there also.
Hey, Ting, a big thank you to you for taking us on this spine-tingly journey through your haunted history and Orlando, as well as some of the cases that you've been on. And Exo Nation, if you'd like to find out more about Ting and the work that she does, AmericanGhostAdventures.com. You can book a tour, explore the unknown, or learn about the spirits that linger among us. Well, that's it for me tonight. So until the next time we meet, Exo Nation, from everyone here at the X Zone, all our affiliates, our broadcast networks, including TalkStar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, the X Zone Broadcast Network, and our good friends at your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ here in St. Catharines, streaming us on classic1220.ca. Always take care of yourself, and always remember to keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. So until tomorrow night, I'm Rob McConnell. Good night now.